All right. Hey guys, it is Sunday night. Welcome in. Thank you everyone who is in the chat already. I appreciate you all being here. I have a really special show for us tonight, and you all are going to love it. If you remember a few weeks ago, I had Dr. Shoha on, the biologic holistic dentist. We were talking about oral health and oral tethers and what we need to do as far as our oral microbiome and how that affects our gut. And then also today, I have on the founder of Argentin 23, Seth Quinto. And he's not the founder, he's shaking his finger at me. So he's going to clarify that. So, oh no, he's not the founder. He's a family member. He'll tell us however many generations. Okay. But either way, I have brilliance in the house tonight, and we're going to connect the dots for you because I don't think people really connect what happens in their mouth and what's happening in their body. And so we want to just bring about some enlightenment to you on some things that might be happening that you need to pay attention to. It could be a key to some unanswered chronic health issues. So, all right, here we go. We're going to bring on our guests, and there we are. We've got Dr. Sue Shoha in the house. Hi, Sue.
Hello, hello.
And we have Seth Quinto. How are you?
Wonderful, ladies. How are you?
Good. Okay, so founding family. That's right.
Yes.
You were not the founder.
No, my father. My father. Our father.
Okay, got it.
Who art in heaven.
You've dropped some LBs since I saw you last time.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, you look good.
Thank you.
Yes.
I've just spent the weekend cutting back bamboo. Oh I'll tell you. Cutting and holding bamboo.
Located?
Florida.
Okay.
The Republic of Florida.
Okay.
A lot of bamboo there, I'm sure.
Yes, ma'am. My backyard, I live on a half an acre. I had the whole side of the yard that was in bamboo.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Send some up here. I need a fence.
Oh, you'd love this stuff.
But you're out and it's good physical exercise.
Oh yeah.
Right? So
yes, it is.
Better than sitting on the couch eating Cheetos all day, right?
No question about it. You couldn't pay me.
Yeah. What's that, Sue?
You'll probably feel it tomorrow too.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no.
You need a good infrared sauna, some good electrolytes.
I've got a Therasage sauna.
Ooh, nice. What is that?
It's a portable sauna made out of bamboo, not plastic.
For real?
I said it for real. Yeah. Therasage.com.
Using the bamboo for sauna?
No. Therasage is made out of bamboo, like it's material.
Oh, got it. Okay.
But it's a zip up. It's a zip up portable, but it's not made out of plastic.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
I have one of those zip ups, but I don't think mine is bamboo.
Therasage.com.
Yeah. I'll check
I've
it out.
seen that. I
got
their
infrared mats. Therasage.
It's full spectrum infrared.
One of their mats. I have a bunch of mats and things.
So they zip up, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Ooh. Okay. Oh, they got
you want to see it?
Good stuff here.
Yeah,
you want to show it to us?
I will show. I
mean, might as well. It's a show about health and wellness, so we can talk about infrared and.
That's it.
Okay.
Made by Therasage.
Nice.
Hold on, let me see it. Let me get back over there. Okay. I can't really see it. Are you just like holding it? Is it all folded up?
No, it's just unzipped.
Sit in it.
It's unzipped.
Oh,
no one's sitting in it. You sit in it and it zips up around your neck.
Oh, I remember seeing that at the show. They had those at the show, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
The one you saw at the show is the kind I have. It's a different one, but they're all good, I think.
Okay. Yeah, something.
I like that. I'm very particular to this one because it's bamboo.
Okay. So I'm curious. I just signed up for their emails so I can look into that when we're done here. So,
good. You'll be very happy.
If you guys are jumping in, please hit that thumbs up button, share it out. And hey, Bill, nice to see you in here. Laura, Wickershire, Rick, appreciate you guys jumping in. If you have questions, I'm going to write this, put your questions in caps, and we're going to go ahead and get some insight on oral health, and then I'll take questions in a little bit. If your question is relevant to where we are in the conversation, then I'll go ahead and pull your question up and we can get that answered. But since we're on Seth at the moment, Seth, give us just a minute or two on your background, how are you involved in Argentina? I know that was family. And so is it kind of like farming? It's like you had no choice. It's just is what it is.
No, I had every choice. I came from sales my whole life. It's funny, you know, when I was a kid, we grew up in outside of Barcelona was my most formative. France, Barcelona. So I was fluent in multiple languages by the time I was 16. Actually, no, 16. Yeah, by the time I was 17, I was fluent in 4 languages. So, you know, very blessed to have been raised all over Western Europe. I was born in England. My second brother was born in England. Third brother was born in Switzerland. And the youngest was born in Miami. Dad owned 3 airlines in our childhood until he abandoned aviation and founded Sovereign Silver in 1998 as his 5th act in life. I want to say it was his 5th act. He started out on Broadway. He was offered the directorship of Hair, which he turned down. He had,
Wow.
big stuff. But he was a blessed man. The guy did so much in his life. He passed a year and a half ago, and his passing was the most devastating event I'd ever suffered, ever experienced. My brothers too. We are 4 brothers. But Dad was just larger than life. He was the ultimate maverick. That was a self-assigned title. He always called himself a maverick. Do you girls remember back in the 1980s an airline around the country called Northeastern? Northeastern International Airways. You can look it up on Google. You'll find it. When we were all kids, it was a big thing. So post deregulation, People Express, Air Florida. When Air Florida crashed into the Potomac, we absorbed some of their parts and bits and pieces of the operation as the airline went down. People Express, Braniff, these are all names from back in the day that people would remember.
Those. Yeah.
Right.
So how did he transition to silver? What was
so before I was born, Dad was in his second marriage to a British actress, I think she was. And he had come into a good sum of money, and he bought and renovated a manor home in France. Beautiful manor home. I'll tell you about how much it was for sale later on in 2006 when he first told us about it was for sale. But this was the story, right? He'd always told us he did this manor home, house in France, blah, 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 stone cut swimming pool. He starts looking around at his filtration options. This is the early 60s. We don't even exist yet. He's not married to Mom. There is no 4 sons, 1, 2, 3, 4, none of that. He's looking around at his filtration options, and he comes up with a local company not too terribly far who was offering a revolutionary copper-silver ionization system. And he's fascinated. He goes down that rabbit hole. He learns all about it. He absolutely goes with it, installs it, and he runs it year-round at 80 degrees in France with no chemicals.
Wow.
It was magical. It was the first
Wow.
thing. It was his real taste, right, of science. He had studied chemistry in college, but this was just on a different level. This is all applicable, right? Applicability, how to apply it. And what rendered was this amazing product. He realized that he had a pool with a minute, infinitesimally tiny doses of silver and copper ions. Nothing grew in the pool. It was soft water. It was potable water. You could drink it. What a fabulous thing to get in a pool and you can drink the water. That's a very special feeling. So
sure.
He sells the place, turns a handsome profit, never thinks about it again. He goes and focuses on aviation for the next 4 decades. 4 plus decades. And doesn't get any consideration again. And he owns these airlines, and at the end of his aviation history, he's in the process of launching a new airline, which I helped with all sorts of things, including introductions to people and funding. He was told by the FAA, Stephen, Mr. Quinto, you'll never own an airline again. So the day he was finished with aviation was his catharsis, right? One of his colleagues from aviation calls him and says, Steve, have you ever heard of colloidal silver? Ding, ding, ding. My dad was, just a very, a doer. He was a guy who got an idea and just ran with it, right? And I mean, ran full bore. So we all have this level of determination. It's insane. But we get it from him. You're just on something and you just get it, and you're not going to let go until you get it. So he finds his newest pilgrimage in that comment. Steve, have you ever heard of colloidal silver? Of course he had. He had a colloidal copper silver swimming pool many decades prior. He had never thought of it again. And that was it. That was his catharsis. He built a little lab off the kitchen at their house in Allison Island, which is a little beautiful island in Miami Beach. He falls in with a duo of PhDs at the University of Miami School of Oceanography and Atmospheric Sciences. And they open up this multi-million-dollar lab to him, and they say, Steve, whatever you need. Scanning electron microscopes, transmission electron microscopes, flame atomic absorption spectrophotometers, pH meters, you name it. Anything for characterization of metallic particles. The concentration, right? Just all sorts of things to begin studying. He's developing a manufacturing process, but parallel to that, he goes out and buys every bottle of colloidal silver, so-called colloidal silver that he could get his hands on.
So it was already on the market.
Not us. Silver was on the market.
No, you guys weren't, but it was on the market.
Honey, silver had been on the market since the 1890s. It was one of the first potions ever arrived at as a potion. Okay. But that was colloidal silver, right, which required electricity. Before that, silver coins were used. The first written references to silver, I believe, are Pliny the Elder. I'm going back into antiquity when I tell you about a name like Pliny the Elder, right? This is almost biblical. It's a little after biblical. And then you got 400 BC, 400 years before Christ, you've got Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, right? Who referenced the finest flowers of silver for the treatment of topical ulcers. The finest flowers of silver are a milled silver powder, right? Because the metals have all these innate properties. They're fascinating. We're going to get into that later on, but the metals are just extraordinary because the properties of silver are innately extremely antiviral, antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, regenerative at the cellular tissue level. And that's just the beginning of the magic. The human body has 2 key receptor sites for silver in the brain, neural myelin tissue. We all get silver from mommy in the womb during gestation. We get silver in mommy's breast milk if we're breastfed. I wasn't breastfed, otherwise I'd be a lot taller. And I'm already on, roughly 6'4". So I'd probably be 6'6", 6'8". I have cousins who are 6'6" and 6'8", I think, or 6'9". Yeah, big. But I'm one of the biggest in the family.
And it's also, isn't it special in the sense that it actually helps to regulate the good bacteria or the good bugs while killing the bad bugs, right?
Correct. They're smart metals. They're selective.
Yeah.
So they're lethal for lower life form pathogens, but for the most part, the good get by untouched.
That's well, and I want to give just a quick backstory in that we in the holistic dental and functional medicine world, and not everyone in the functional medicine world. I'm probably one of the few functional medicine docs that I know that's using silver for things like digestive disorders, candida, SIBO, C. diff, colitis, Crohn's, any of those really severe digestive issues. That's what I'm using. I used to use a combination of herbals, high concentration of aromatic essential oils and some herbals. And I just found that using this silver copper combination, we got to the end result faster and it was more effective. And what I love about it is it's liquid. So it's not all these pills that people have to take. So, so that's why I wanted to have Seth on, because we have these conversations about how do we impact our gut microbiome. But then I wanted to bring Sue into the fold as well, because Dr. Sue is a biologic dentist. And, we talk about the gut brain connection all the time. However, and unless you're watching my channel or another channel on oral health, you may not have heard about your oral microbiome and how that impacts your gut as well. So everything is really, it's very synergistic. And so this is part of, when Seth is talking about all this, I'm fascinated by the fact that your dad regulated a swimming pool like that. And then it came about to be this really wonderful, or expanding on this product that's been around, or not necessarily product, but compound that's been around.
Part of Ayurvedic medicine involves, using a lot of silver. And
absolutely,
actually, even present day, a lot of people will have silver containers
Yep.
Or copper containers that they will store water in overnight, and they'll drink out of a silver cup. I mean, that's what my dad still does. He's 97 years old. Every day,
Oh,
he
bravo! That's beautiful.
filtered water in his little silver container, and that's what he drinks out of. So
That's amazing.
Yeah, they're natural antibiotic, naturally. Just what better way to stay healthy? So
I'd like to help you with that rather than antibiotic, which they can't. You can't be pro-life and anti-life at the same time.
Right.
So antiseptic. These are antiseptics. The properties of these metals are absolutely antiseptic because they're lethal for anything bad, but they're very pro higher life. Doctors, both of you, how many kids do you have?
I have one.
Yeah, Dr. Sue.
I have three.
Three
kids.
Oh, so we got that's 4 babies between you who got 1 milligram of each of silver from mommy. So thank you, mommies. You ready for
17
this?
months of nursing. So there's that.
Oh, how sweet. And about 70 milligrams of copper. So we get a lot of copper. We get a little bit of silver. But all the things that make up the planet make us up too. And that's what's so fascinating, that they are in Ayurvedic medicine, but they're part and parcel of us too.
Right.
Well, when we are deficient.
While we're talking about that, I do want to clear up a myth that is in society right now, because everybody refers to mercury fillings as silver fillings.
Yeah,
just
51% mercury.
Silver and tin, but the mercury fillings are 50% mercury. They show up in a dental office with a skull and crossbones on them. And if a mercury filling falls out in a sandbox at a school, they will shut the school down, they will clear out the sand, and they'll call it a hazardous waste dump. But for some reason, the people that still continue to put mercury fillings in people's mouths will consider them to be safe. So when they're taken out, they're not safe. When they come in, they're not safe. But in the mouth, automatically they're safe.
Where did that come from? Where did putting mercury amalgams in?
I want to guess. Rockefeller medicine, for those in the back of the class. Rockefeller medicine, Rockefeller dentistry, poison. If it's about poisoning humanity, it's all going to find its way to the Rockefeller doorstep. That's their whole mission.
Huge lobby for, I hate to say financial gain, but
follow the money.
Will still continue to support mercury fillings because, and this is their reasoning, because they've been around for 100 years. So that's another one. Go figure that one out.
That's not a reason.
They've been around.
No. And with that, Sue, can you talk a little bit about what mercury fillings do? I will say to patients, and I've told you before, and Seth, I'm not sure if I mentioned this to you, but when I take x-rays of somebody and I have them open their mouth, that's when I do like just a brief oral exam, and I take a look around and I look at the roof of their mouth and the shape of it. And when I love
you for that.
Thank you.
No, seriously. I mean, that's very few clinicians look at the mouth. It's kind of like people go to see their doctor, right? Doesn't talk to them about food, doesn't ask about their mouth, their lifestyle. What kind of a doctor are you going to see?
No.
Go and see someone who looks at all of you, right? And can come up with,
and I know
ways to help
just enough from the oral perspective to be able to get them referred over to Dr. Sue.
Right.
And then she and I are working together to help these people because, they'll start asking me questions and drilling down, and I'll say, you really need to go get that further evaluated.
Amen.
And when I see amalgams, and even the porcelain ones, I do want you to address that too, Sue, if those are actually safe. But when I see those, and I'll tell somebody, we need to get you a consultation to talk about getting those out. And they're like, yeah, I really should. And they're really, because kind of to your point about they've been around for 100 years, these people have had them in their mouths for so long. They're like, and yet they're dealing with thyroid autoimmune, or maybe they've had their thyroid removed, or they're dealing with all these other chronic health issues. And no one's ever even suggested that perhaps these fillings in your mouth are what's actually causing all of your chronic illnesses.
Well, definitely contributing. Absolutely. Well, one of the issues is that it's probably better for these patients to not have them out by anybody if they're not taken out safely. So I think you're better off just holding on to them unless you can be completely sure that, number one, your body is ready for removal. Number two, you go to someone that understands how dangerous mercury is. And number 3, they can protect you, the staff, the environment. There's a lot that goes into taking out mercury fillings safely. It's not a matter of, I'm just going to go in and have them out one day. It's best to do a protocol of prepping your body before and definitely taking care of it after.
And there are some docs who will just take them out.
No.
So if you hear that, you should run. You should wait. I mean, even the ADA, even though we slam them for different things, even the ADA now is saying that little bits of mercury vapor are being released. So they recognize that, but they're also saying, don't go jump in and have them out unless you need to, because they know most people are not using the precautions. So
okay, can I share what Dr. Sue didn't say was, please seek out a SMART certified dentist. The SMART is an acronym: Safe Mercury Amalgam Removal Technique. SMART. You find them on IAOMT.org, International Academy of Oral Medicine and Toxicology. I just know enough about this stuff because I love the profession. Dr. Sue, I love you. I love what you do, what you represent, and how passionate you are. And like you said, Doc, it's all about the mouth. Everything that we do starts in the mouth.
I just dropped that link in the comments for everybody. So
thanks, Dr. Paula.
Yeah.
And it's funny, we got into this space a decade ago. I drove us into biological dentistry. I wanted us in dentistry, only biological dentistry. And it's funny, here we are, cut to the present a decade later. We are the only metal in metal-free dentistry. But that's because we're a hair above homeopathy. But again, the more you realize and you use the products and you use all these things available to us, right? What do we have? We live in the world's greatest amount of information ever. There's more information available at our fingertips than ever before, but there's so much misinformation and disinformation. So you have to pick through that. And then you've got the societal adage, fake it until you make it. So in America and around the world, there's so much fakery, false prophets, fake science. So we call it pseudoscience. We're the kings of science in a field that is totally pseudoscientific. It's bizarre, but again, I direct people, find yourself on IOMT.org, dentists who are SMART certified. If they're not SMART certified, they're feeding you they're feeding you a story.
Seth, that IOMT lists all of them, and the ones that are accredited have taken the extra training. And they've gone through, they've really made the commitment to take it a step further to understand the different forms of mercury, how they come in and how they exit the body. And they also have a whole collaborative community that they can refer patients to for functional medicine, for the appropriate lab tests. So, they have people like Dr. Paula Ruffin in their fold. And they understand using the right kind of materials. And Seth, the products you provide, it's really important to go to someone, not somebody that's just taken a course and said, okay, I've taken a 1 hour course.
That's it. Presto, I'm biological.
And so I think it's really important. I mean, do your research. So there's a question that's coming up. How do you prep your body to have them removed? And the biggest thing is, make sure you're working with an integrative physician. Make sure you're working with a functional medicine doc. Look at your body systems. Look at your drainage pathways. This is the most important thing. The biggest drainage pathway is through the gut. So the gut needs to be opened. Your liver, your kidneys need to be working. Your lymphatics need to be on. You should be sweating, whether it's through an infrared sauna or exercise. We can talk a little bit about that at the office, but it's best for somebody to do the lab work and put you on the right kind of supplements, whether it's NAC, glutathione, kidney, liver support, or, whatever, homeopathics. So different practitioners have different ways of preparing the body. And those people, I feel, have the best results because their pathways are open. Because regardless of how many measures we take to protect our patients from the mercury, we're always being bombarded with different heavy metals. So
that's a great point, Sue. And I think too, that goes to how people consider, and of course, anyone listening here, if you are someone who you're like, oh, I'm regular, I have a bowel movement every day, but if I don't take my fiber, I won't be regular. Okay, that's not normal. So if your body can't function without taking an external fiber product, something's actually metabolically wrong. And and the gut is only one detoxification pathway. So in order to have this done safely, that's where working with somebody who's integrative or functional to be able to look at all the different pathways: liver, kidneys, lungs, skin, gut, and of course lymphatics. So we have to make sure that all of the detoxification. What's that? What'd I miss?
I do not ask. I always ask clinicians all the time, how organic is your patient's diet? Do you ask that they have an organic diet? I remember I was what you're describing, Dr. Paula. I was that guy 25 years ago. I was one bowel movement every morning. I was like, wow, I'm golden. I couldn't have been more off base. Right. More off base, right? Because that was my.
Well, and my first goal with most of my patients is to get them just to stop eating the high processed foods. So once I get them there, then I talk organic. So, because at that point, it's like we have to take those levels. At least that's my personal
baby steps, right? I mean, you
yeah.
got to start building up. And here's the thing, when you come in to see me, I'm assuming that you're already at in a good space. It should be at least 80-90% you're eating clean, eating well, hydrating, taking the right kind of supplements. And I think to get to that point, it's it's good to work with Dr. Paula. Seth, are you dancing back there?
I said, please forgive me. No. I was being called. My neighbor's outside cutting, and he's like, let's go. I'm like, dude, I'm on a call. Anyway, what was I telling you?
Call with two very important women.
Exactly. And I was like telling him, I'm on a call. I can't talk. And he wouldn't hang up. He's like, let's go. Anyway.
And you keep freezing in the best possible faces too. So
do I really? You guys are so sweet.
So I think also we have some great questions in the chat that I think we can take. However, before we do that, if both of you can chime in a little bit on what should people be looking out for? Give me the connection from oral to gut to brain, and you're my guest. So,
Dr. Sue,
I would
ladies
love
first.
to hear what your expertise is and just make the connection, like give people some aha moment of this is going on in the mouth and it could be affecting X, Y, and Z. And so, because I really want people who are listening to be able to go, oh my gosh, I never would have thought about that. So what dots can you connect from an oral health to a chronic health disease state, Sue?
All right. So what's really cool right now, and I think a lot of people may have been hearing about this, is microbial testing for the mouth, where a little bit of saliva is sent off to a lab and it's tested for the microbiome, which basically means a list of everything, all kinds of bacteria, viruses, fungi, whatever that exists in the mouth. And just like the gut, you want a diverse microbiome, which means you want a bunch of different bacteria, and they're always going to live in balance. And things go out of whack when certain bacteria start taking over and they start wiping out the good colonies of bacteria. And, when we get into this, a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to do some mouthwash. Mouthwash pretty much obliterates all bacteria, and it's really not helping the gut microbiome. It's better to be feeding the
That was actually one of our questions, by the way.
Yeah. So
that was one of the questions. Is what's a good mouthwash?
No fluoride. No fluoride.
So
avoid fluoride like the poison it is.
Yes, we'll get to fluoride in a second. But there are 5 main bad guys that exist in the mouth, and they are connected to heart disease, diabetes, stroke, Alzheimer's, cancer, low birth weight babies. And, somebody comes in, they're 30 years old, and they have a history of dementia or Alzheimer's or whatever, all these different diseases. And if we can offer them a test to see if there's any bacteria that are connected to those diseases, what a great way to address that when they're young, instead of all of a sudden you're in your 50s or 60s and now you're dealing with these issues that perhaps could have been dealt with earlier. And not to say that every chronic disease condition comes from bacteria, but there are certain ones that are implicated. So it just makes sense to look into that. And the other thing is the mouth is the start of the digestive tract. Everybody thinks of the gut microbiome as completely different, but these things are kind of they're working together. Mm-hmm. And it's really important to keep note of that connection and be able to the mouth.
This question here is okay. I lost you for 1 second there.
Yeah. Oh, is that Seth?
Okay. I'm here.
No, I was going to ask. So with those bacteria, because we have a question about can you rebuild enamel? If you don't have the proper microbiome in the mouth, is that where we lose enamel, or is that I'm always told, oh, you're brushing too aggressively, or what's the? Can you speak to that?
So enamel is the hardest substance in the body. It's harder even than our bones. And the only way we wear down the enamel is when we're clenching and grinding. Okay, we should be, normal wear and tear is 0.1 millimeters a year. But when people clench and grind, and which is usually in relationship to, we can get into that maybe at another time, because this is another whole new rabbit hole of when you don't get enough airflow at night, your body does things to wake you up, so you clench and grind. And that's what's causing people to shorten their teeth and lose tooth structure that way. And I think this question really is talking about when you start getting cavities. Cavities basically require bacteria, the teeth, and the saliva, all right? And obviously whatever is introduced in that environment. If the saliva is acidic, which again comes back to the acidic foods and the junky processed foods that we're eating, then as the saliva pH drops, our teeth get more prone to cavities. And if we can always keep that saliva pH up, you can start to re-mineralize and rebuild those areas where we're starting to get tissue loss.
What should the pH of the mouth be? Because I've got pH strips.
The mouth to be as close as possible to 7.
Oh,
6.
okay.
Neutral.
7.
Neutral. Okay.
And 5.5 is when we start seeing a lot of breakdown of tooth structure, because the tooth basically start to melt.
So can people use those pH test strips?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's one of the things that we do in our office. We like to see what the pH of the mouth is, because it tells people, is your saliva neutral or is it acidic? Because once you know where you're at, you can start to fix it.
With diet. Diet's going to fix it.
With diet.
Well, that's the easiest way to fix it. Questions up here is name the top foods. Name the top foods that wreck body health. I think that's a whole nother show too, but yeah.
Sugar and gluten.
Sugar. Mine is no artificial sweeteners, flavors, colors, or sugars. Those are my my taboo 4. Yeah.
Nothing that's a whole food, basically.
Well, that's where I go too. Okay, if you have to actually chew your food, chew the fiber, don't forget, if your gut isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing, no amount of fiber substitute, you're not going to get the benefit from that fiber. So you've got to have the proper biome or bugs in your mouth and your gut, and of course your skin, everywhere. So
can I chime in on that? I just want to
go.
I just want to chime in really one thing, because it's been gnawing at me, but you'd mentioned it and we didn't tandem it forward from earlier. 1 bowel movement a day is what I used to be, right? Which is like the standard thing. I go to bathroom once a day. I feel, things are perfect. And when I changed my diet to very organic about 25 years ago, I cook, right? So the first thing I did was cook organic chicken. Oh my God, what a different experience. Really? All that for $3 more or $5 more? I'd never, ever buy a non-organic chicken again, ever. That's just a personal thing. So, but the first thing that happened was my bowel movements. As I let go of the standard American poison diet, I went from 1 bowel movement to 2, 3, 4, 5 a day. I always ask people, how many meals do you have a day? You should at least have the bowel movements you do meals. And remember, guys, I'm not a biologist. I'm not a gastroenterologist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a dentist. I'm just a human being on this trip with you. We're all walking each other home.
Well,
What a beautiful walk home.
Out, right?
Exactly. But be really careful what you put in. We live in a society where food is thy poison. You know, I've always asked clinicians for 25 years that I've been doing this with the family company, please put in your office, patient, let thy food be thy medicine be thy food. Put that poster, just get, you know, Hippocrates 400 BC. It was good 2,500 years ago.
On my whiteboard.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, Seth, I think that's really important for us to hear a little bit more from you on that, because that's a story, you know, people are where you were at. So, and then people are like, oh my gosh, it's confusing. It's too hard. It's too expensive. I think straight away it looks like it's more expensive, but until they get into it. So talk about what that transition was like for you. What was that final, you know, what was the aha moment? What made you start to go down that path? And were there challenges? Like, give us a little bit more of a backstory on that.
That was one of my aha moments, was that toothpaste that I showed you, Himalaya Organic. So first thing was no fluoride toothpaste, but I'm lucky, right? My dad started this enterprise when I was in my late 20s. And I joined the company in my late 20s. I'm now 53. So Tom's of Maine. I remember we had Tom's in the 80s. That was the toothbrush we had at home, right? So I always had access to this kind of stuff. I had a very forward-thinking family. Mom, I'm a linguist because of my mom. You know, my dad owned airlines and he was a pilot and he was the consummate perfectionist. But seekers, we were always seekers. Ironically, never taught how to floss my teeth. It was not discussed. Flossing wasn't a thing. I never flossed my teeth. I flossed my teeth literally twice a year. Dr. Sue's looking at me like, oh my God. So my girlfriend is a dental assistant of 19 years. She's an impeccable dental assistant. Since we've been together for about a year now, I have never, ever missed a night flossing my teeth.
Woohoo!
Ever.
Nice.
No,
nice.
And she taught me, there's a mantra, right? Only floss the teeth you want to keep.
Yeah.
Wow. As a grown man who's missing a few because I had braces as a kid. And I'm one of that generation where they took 4 teeth out of my head to put the braces in.
Oh yeah.
You want to talk about a crime? That's a crime against humanity.
Yes.
I'm very unforgiving for that. And that, you know, again, I love you guys because you represent, Dr. Sue, the epitome of fine dentistry, right? The science of proper dentistry. Biological dentistry is not like any other dentistry. They start you with a mouth exam. Let's have a look what's going on. And then they'll send you across the hall or down the hall or across the street, wherever, to get a blood draw. So we can do compatibility testing to see what dental materials we can use on you, patient, and what we can't. You want to talk about Rolls-Royce care? That's what Rolls-Royce dental care looks like. All medical care should look like that. When you go to really extraordinary clinicians, physicians, nurse practitioners, whoever they may be. I love chiropractors. Dr. Paula, thank you for everything you do. This is truly fabulous stuff. When you get exposed to clinicians who really do care and really do take the time and take great pride in their profession, it's evident in everything. I've never had a bad experience with a biological dentist. I'm just very, very picky. I got off fluoride, I don't know, maybe 18 years ago, 19 years ago, long time. My daughter's 12. She's never had fluoride, but she's also never had a vaccine because I happen to be lucky enough to live in the Republic of Florida, where I still have freedom like that. But
how many cavities does your daughter have?
How many what? Cavities? None.
Woohoo! See, so
None.
Cavities are not because of deficiency of fluoride.
No.
Right.
Right.
No. Fluoride. Well, I'm convinced that fluoride causes cavities.
Absolutely.
And maybe that was, I remember taking my daughter. So my daughter, completely unvaccinated, raised on organic, healthy, home-cooked food, fruits and vegetables, garden, all the things. And she's got 2 cavities. And I'm like, oh my God. And it nursed for 17 months. So it's like, I'm like, what? Where did I go wrong? But I do remember there was one time she was at the dentist and I had told them no fluoride, and she said they gave her fluoride anyway. And I was like, what? I was so mad. I was so mad. So I don't know where these two. She takes great care of her teeth now.
You never went back to that dentist, did you?
And no, never did. And
Good.
and listen, I got to tell you, we've never used fluoride toothpaste either. So,
you're a chiropractor. Yeah. I expect nothing less.
Right. And so, but you know, this too is where you go, well, shoot, also in the fact that we can do what we can do. Thank God she's my kid, because who knows, it might be worse, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is the way you have to look at that. But
listen, they shot my kid with a vitamin K shot with no consent.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. This was at Holy Cross Hospital in Fort Lauderdale. So
Did
again,
you lose it?
I went apeshit. Excuse my language, but absolutely. This is the clinicians that they're not even clinicians. The jackass residents who walked in when my daughter was born. Good morning, Mr. Quinto. We're here for the vaccine. I didn't even get out of my chair. I just turned and I never sat with my back to the door, but I just looked over my shoulder and I said, "We're not vaccinating." So these 3 jackasses walked in, and they were maybe, I don't know, 5'8", 5'9", the tallest.
Yeah.
They went down this whole line, Mr. Quinto, the hepatitis vaccine. I finally leaned into the first guy. I said, "If you touch my daughter, I will kill you and hunt your families down." They walked out of the room backwards. It's one of my proudest moments. You know what? You got to have cojones to be a parent. You got to have cojones to be a dad.
Oh, yeah.
Dad, be father. Don't be some loser. Be a father. Man up, and stand up for your kids.
And that's a story that is not isolated. It's not special to you in the sense that they really try to coerce and bully.
Yes,
and
look at the last 4 years. Look at the last 4 years. You want to talk about coercion? Let's talk coercion, because it has been the most coercive environment ever.
Yeah.
They've made the COVID jabs part of the childhood vaccine schedule. You want to talk about the ultimate reasoning that I now have, and you do too, Doc, and Dr. Sue, I don't know where you are in your journey, but I'm sure we're all on the same page here. Yeah. This is the ultimate thing where we know we could never have made a more proper decision. It is written in the stars. Yeah.
And you don't necessarily need to, and this is also when we're talking about this with oral health, I also feel like we're pushing against such a bigger message that's been drilled down everybody's throat. Drink your fluoridated water, brush your teeth with fluoride toothpaste.
You know why? Do you know why? You know what fluoride does? Well, first off, let's talk about the why. Dr. Sue, you can elaborate on this too. But fluoride's an effluent. It's a waste product. So they had to get rid of it, right? Which is what you do with waste product. Like we have a waste product as we make Sovereign Silver and Argentin 23 and Sovereign Copper. Our waste product looks better than any of the other coppers or silvers on the market. The stuff that we throw away in the manufacture of our refined products, right? Ultra refinements. So fluoride is a throwaway product that is now involved in the message is that it prevents caries, it prevents cavities. Again, that's a huge lie.
It's a neurotoxin.
It is and it calcifies the pineal gland.
Exactly, and keeps you from thinking for yourself.
You can't think for yourself. That's your magic, right? That's the magic of us human beings, is the pineal gland. It's your creativity, your imagination, your everything that makes us human revolves around the pineal gland. It's the third eye. Of course they want us to have
a better way to turn people into robots.
Absolutely. That
anxiety,
inject them,
depression,
5G, GMO foods. Read Rockefeller Lockstep. I hate to say it. There we go again. Rockefeller. It's so recurrent, isn't it? I'm so happy that is not my name.
It really becomes us taking matters into our own hands. We have to have more of these conversations. Right. We have to, I call it just grassroots. We have to be here. We have to be shouting as loudly as we can. And we have to really dig our heels in. And, it's people like the 3 of us. And again, when we team up like this, that we are very, very convicted in our beliefs. And we also believe that you all deserve to hear these messages, that asking yourself, why have I followed this path the whole time? Whoever said that fluoride was good in water? I mean, that was, again, there's no data behind that. That was, let's just put it in water.
Shows that having fluoridated water it reduces IQ. There are some studies, some research papers.
Correct.
Yeah. So there's a lot of, so when we're talking about, and so this is going to challenge everybody in the sense that if you go to brush your teeth tonight, take a look at that toothpaste and you can do it. Throw it away.
Amen.
Throw it away.
Absolutely.
Use a little baking soda. If you want to go buy,
Himalaya Organic is the stuff that I use.
Yeah, the Himalayan
peroxide, baking soda.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And even the colloidal silver. I mean, what better
Mhm.
way to keep things, clean and bacteria free?
Yeah. Yeah, naturally, the way the body was meant to. We're putting chemicals in our mouth. Our teeth are not deficient in fluoride. This is not, it's kind of like when Seth was saying, what you said something about deficient, and was it your daughter deficient in vitamin K? I don't know. Can't remember.
No,
we went on so many things. But yeah, so we have to ask ourselves, this outside in approach to health, this is not what it is. It's our bodies are designed, we are divine, we are self-healing, we are self-regulating, and we just need to remove the interference to how the body's functioning in order to get it to do its best thing. And so when we're putting chemicals in our mouth, in our body, whether it's food, whether it's through gum, mouthwash, toothpaste, all of those. Oh my God, one of the worst things is those little Listerine tabs that people pop in their mouth and then they dissolve and I'm like, oh my God, do you even know what you're doing to yourself right now?
Eviscerating your biome.
It's horrible.
Eviscerating your oral biome.
I'm going to mention something else. A lot of people are becoming aware of sublingual administration of different kinds of materials. They're doing a lot of, glutathione or B12 or things like that. The reason that you can do that is because the area below the tongue, very thin tissue, and whatever gets absorbed goes directly into the bloodstream. So think about that every time you put something garbagey in your mouth, because that right away has direct access to your bloodstream.
Yep. And you have two key receptor sites under the tongue for the lymphatic system.
Exactly.
So you got the bloodstream and the lymph. It's insane what's available, like you said, right under the tongue.
Yeah. And for anybody who doesn't know the importance of the lymphatic system, that is like your garbage disposal of your body.
Walk for 15 minutes. Go have a brisk walk for 15 minutes. You'll recirculate your entire lymphatic system.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have great bowel movements. You'll feel great.
Yes.
You will. You'll be thirsty. You'll drink water, not Gatorade, which is full on poison.
Oh my gosh.
Talking about poisons. Question, How do you clean your toothbrush after use? You rinse the hell out of it till it's clean, clean, clean.
That's it. Yeah, I was wondering if there was a secret to that.
Never leave it crusty.
Let's go ahead and run through some of these questions. So when should you brush your teeth? Once in the morning, or how often?
Well, I think once in the morning is good, but it's important to, before you have your mouth closed all night, before the saliva dries, before all the Cheetos or whatever garbage you ate sticks in your teeth and gets part of the biofilm, it's more important to brush your teeth at night and floss, because that's when you're getting the food particles off. That's when you're disrupting the biofilm. And that is the most critical time. So to answer your question, definitely 2 times. Morning for your breath to have.
I can't believe that was a question.
But at
I
night,
just want to brush my teeth once a day.
I'm like, and I carry toothpaste around with me, of course, fluoride free. I don't chew gum or anything like that. And people will offer me gum or mints, and I'm like, no, I have toothpaste. I don't need, and nor do I have bad breath. So I'm like, I'm good. But if I've had coffee or something like that, which we're all going to drink coffee. Well, at least I'm going to drink coffee. So
yeah, I'm with you.
But
beans.
But I'm going to go brush my teeth after, right? Or I'm going to put a blob of toothpaste in my mouth and swish it around. So, and so when we talk about that, so if I just swish toothpaste around my mouth, what would be the difference between that and using mouthwash? Is there a safe mouthwash?
I want to come back to your brushing your teeth after drinking coffee, because when you have something acidic, remember how we talked about the pH of the saliva and the pH in the mouth? When things are a little acidic in the mouth, you can sort of picture the teeth getting a little softer. The more acidic things are, the softer the teeth get. So if you've ever had lemonade or just, lemon juice on something's really lemony, and your teeth just kind of have that funny squeaky feel to them, that's when the teeth are the most susceptible. So if you go through and brush your teeth, as great as it sounds, that's a good way to actually brush enamel off. So that is
Especially
actually a little bit of a no-no.
Okay.
No. Use water. Rinse your mouth with water.
Rinse your mouth with water first. Let the pH normalize a little bit before you jump in and brush your teeth.
Okay, that is great advice. I appreciate that.
That's just very key. A lot of people, and that also brings up, people love to drink lemon water, and I think lemon water is great, but drink the lemon water in one sitting in the morning, or if you have to sip it throughout the day, use a straw so it's not sitting in your mouth, because every time that pH in your mouth drops, every time your mouth gets acidic, your body has to work to get that pH back up to being neutral. So you're better off if you want to have that lemon water, just have it one time.
Good advice. Do we have particular foods that stain? Well, I'm going to do a spin-off of this question. I'm going to ask it in a two-part. What foods stain the teeth the most? And if your teeth are really healthy, can they stain?
They can. As we get older, the enamel does tend to get thinner because of what we were talking about. Normal wear and tear, the brushing the teeth after having acidic foods. Just maybe some people just have a lower pH, more acidic saliva. So over time, the more we're brushing, we are brushing the enamel away. And when the pores of the teeth are open, so when the enamel is a little softer, there is there's an opening for things with a lot of stain to enter the lower part of the tooth, the dentin. So whether it's coffee or chocolate or red wine or raspberry jam, things like that, over time can create some staining.
And then if we're going to talk about, just going back on that question with mouthwash, Seth, talk to us a little bit about using the silver. And we can use that to swish the mouth and regulate the mouth, right?
Absolutely. Yes, you can, because again, it's going to have no effect, essentially no effect whatsoever on the good bacteria. It's going to have virtually no effect on the good bacteria. It's going to be lethal against the pathogenic varieties of whatever they may be. Bacteria, viruses, protozoa, you name it. Particularly effective.
Now, can people do the silver and copper every day, or are we only going to be utilizing it? Hey, he's with us right now.
Sorry. No worries. I'm good.
Couple more minutes.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about. I have again a two-part question. I want to know the difference between colloidal silver and sovereign silver, if there is one.
Huge difference.
And then can people take this daily? Should they cycle it on off? Should they only take it when they have gut issues? Give us some.
Let me run you through the whole thing.
Okay,
colloidal silver and bioactive silver hydrosol share virtually nothing in common other than the raw materials, and even that's questionable. So silver and water. The suspension of silver and water is the definition of a colloidal silver, right? A colloid being defined as the suspension of one element in another. Life is a function of the colloidal state. Blood is a colloid. Milk is a colloid. When you walk out of your house in the morning and there's mist in the air, that's a colloidal suspension of water and air. It's a colloidal suspension. We got out of calling our product colloidal silver in about 2004, 2005. I think our website still says the ultimate refinement in colloidal silver, but even that's not entirely factual. Because in 0506, we were granted our own CASRN, Chemical Abstract Society Registration Number. CASRN. I'm sure you girls have seen that, and listeners throughout your life, in all caps, CASRN. Bioactive silver hydrosol has its own CASRN. We were finally recognized in 0506 as something new and unique to not be confused with colloidal silver. The ultimate distinction between us and colloidal silver is we prove particle size and particle dispersion through microphotography. Colloidal silver proves nothing. You got to believe the manufacturer and believe that, oh my God, it is exactly what they said it was, when, again, we talked about it earlier, right? Fake it until you make it. This is a country of faking it till you make it. That's what happens in the world. Everyone goes out and tells you how great they are. No truth, no fact, but hey, you got to make a sale. I love that, because when we show up, We get to take that sale and turn it around and reflect it. It reflects on us. It comes back to us. All roads will ultimately lead to us if you're seeking out silver or copper. Because again, we do things in the world, the likes of which no other company's ever done. We make the world's smallest proven particle size. You can go on sovereignsilver.com, compare us, or how do we compare? Go on argentin23.com. Again, how do we compare? Compare us, and look at the pictures of the particle size yourself of the silver brands you've known up until now, and look what we look like in comparison. I assure you, you'll never use another product.
So what's the importance of having the smallest particle?
No bioaccumulation. Goes in, does its job, and leaves the body. So we're the only silver company in the world that has in writing, no other silver company has this, that Argentin 23 at 23 parts per million cannot cause argyria, and Sovereign Silver at 10 parts per million cannot cause argyria. That means turning blue. In 26 years on the market, no one has ever turned blue off of anything we made. I actually had a doctor call me and accuse me 6 years ago, I think. Yeah, 2018, 17, 18, 6, 7 years ago. He calls me and says, Seth, Argentin turned me blue. I said, no, it didn't. No, it did. I said, no, it didn't. And I spent the next 24 hours proving to him via email, right, all of the safety, the non-toxicity, the non-bioaccumulation, the complete excretion. Most of the excretion happens within the first 24 hours. You poop it out. Glutathione-dependent phase 2 liver detoxification is the way out of the body for silver, unless it's some adulterated silver, which a lot on the market is. It has proteins and stabilizers and all kinds of other crap in it. Then maybe it's going to have more of a complicated way out of the body. Ours has no complicated way out of the body. It goes in, does its job like no other silver on the planet, better than anything else, and it's primarily gone from the body within 24 hours. So that goes out the window. There is no possible toxicity if you don't bioaccumulate something. At 23 parts per million, you're looking at 0.0023% ultra pure silver by weight in solution. Ultra pure is 99.99.
Oh, we lost him.
You know, I am going to segue back to the question about brushing teeth at night. It would be so great to, after brushing teeth, to do a rinse with the Argentin.
Yep, absolutely. A tablespoon. Swish a tablespoon or two, depending on your mouth and what you're looking to do it, but a tablespoon or two held in the mouth and swished around the mouth for 2-3 minutes. Very important. The hold times, the exposure time. I'll give you a hint. We do lab tests, right? And years ago, we did lab tests. We still do periodically, bacteriological assays. They always have times on them. So for example, MRSA, the times that we have on our MRSA studies are 2 and 4 minutes. There's a third time frame, but it doesn't even matter. We're done at 4. So MRSA is eradicated at 4, and we're not allowed to make any disease claims, so please don't take me out of context. However, holding the dose in the mouth for 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, I hold my dose in the mouth. Sometimes I'll get in the shower with a tablespoon in my mouth. I'll shower, it'll be in my mouth for 10, 12 minutes because I know my maximum absorption is going to happen 5 or 6 minutes. In 5 or 6 minutes, I'll get as deep as the spleen and the bone marrow. Physiologically, I'm not going to get any deeper, but I'll tandem the doses right throughout the day. I'll do a dose for a tablespoon for a minute, for 30 seconds, for 5 minutes, for 6, for 12, whatever it is, for 3. I'm always back and forth. The copper is a different story entirely. Copper needs 30 seconds in the mouth. It's a smart metal. It'll get everywhere it's needed. But in 30 seconds in the mouth, with the copper, you're going to start to really address what you need to address, any inflammatory things that you're trying to turn down. Copper is the ultimate anti-inflammatory.
So you'll do those separately. You won't.
I can mix them. I can totally mix them.
Okay.
The copper
so it's not going to hurt you to keep
No.
the copper in your mouth for longer.
No.
Okay.
No. Nothing we do can hurt you. Oh, that's another interesting feature. The only way you could hurt your son, Dr. Sue's smiling, the only way you could hurt yourself with anything we manufacture, because remember, it's a hair above homeopathy, is if you dropped a big bottle on your toe or you drowned in it. I assure you, drowning in it would be prohibitively expensive. Excuse me, we've got a drowning victim here. They drowned in $5,000 worth of silver. They drowned it.
Oh my gosh. I feel like we need to do a part 2 on here. It is 7 o'clock and I have to go panel a discussion on another channel.
Sorry. I've got a dog who's going. What did I say?
What's that? Are you talking to the dog or
my dog? No, not you. Lie down.
So, we lost him again. Okay. So I think we need to do a part 2 on this and get Seth back on. He said he'd be available in about a month. So, that will probably work out. Yeah. With my timing and your timing. So, so I hope that we got your questions answered. As far as the whitening products, I think that I'll let Sue talk, answer that real quick, and then we'll have to jump off. We're gonna go over to Garden State Gardener's channel, and Garden State Gardener Joe's having a panel discussion over there. So as soon as I head off of here, then join me over there. But Sue, would you just address the whitening products issue?
A lot of people are on the whitening bandwagon. As long as it's got some carbamide peroxide, you're going to be safe. You could even just rinse with a hydrogen peroxide mouthwash a couple times a day, and you should start noticing a big difference.
Great. Okay. Thank you for that. And then thank you all for being here. Make sure you share this out. Please tell others. Again, we're still trying to grow this channel. So I appreciate your love and support, being here in the chat, supporting us, and asking all your great questions. So we will see you. I'll see you tomorrow on Reset Monday, and Tuesday this week is Chiropractic is Sexy. We are not doing Thursday. We're doing on Tuesday this week. So we'll see you tomorrow morning, but hopefully we'll see you over at Garden State Gardener here in just a minute. All right. Thanks guys for joining us. Talk to you soon.